Well, hello, all you fabulous freight masters out there. We made it to another Friday. Um, it's been a pretty exciting week. I say that because uh, I've had so many of you reach out to me uh, for freight sales advice, how to prospect, how to get, new customers, get your first customer, right? Some of you have been carriers, some of you have been freight agents, some of you have been brokers, you know, um, and hey, we're all not born having that all that sales knowledge, right? And so, like I've mentioned before, years ago when I got into the industry, I didn't have any kind of a sales background or anything. Um, and it was something that I inevitably ended up developing over time, um, and with a little bit of help from some others, right? A couple of carriers, a couple of other brokers, and I've kind of always tried to pay that forward. We've got the YouTube channel, we've got the Facebook group, and I've always really kind of, I loved watching all you guys succeed. Some of the emails that I've gotten, hey Tim, thanks for all your help. I actually have, 7 new customers now. I love getting those kinds of emails and DMs and everything. So it makes what I do kind of really all worthwhile, right? If I wasn't getting that feedback from you guys on, that you were starting to find success, then I would probably just close up shop, right? Because there's a lot of other things that I could probably be doing. But I love helping everybody. So I guess kind of all that being said, if you want to book an hour Zoom meeting with me, there is a link in the description down below. Okay. And we can set that up. Or, you could even email me. Let me pull up the email here. If you want to email me directly, you can. Okay, freightmasterresources@gmail.com. If you're in the Facebook group, obviously I'm the admin, so just reach out to me through there as well. So I'm always around. All right. Couple of you I have to still get caught up with. Kind of we had things sort of set up, and then scheduling happened on their end, and so if you're watching this, don't forget to follow back up with me on that. When's a good time for you? So we've had quite a bit happening in the Facebook group. Obviously, a lot of you have been coming in, reaching out to me from the group. But I've had a lot of people kind of hit me up about factoring. Actually, one of them was a buddy of mine, the DAT load board, Easy Propel, TMS, right? There's a lot of other options out there. And kind of with factoring, like factoring is factoring, right? The process is for the most part kind of the same. I don't think any factoring company is out there kind of trying to reinvent the wheel, right? But I think I've mentioned in a previous video when, like I talked to a husband and wife team and they got caught in a double broker. They got kind of scammed, and when they had me look at the paperwork, I looked at it. I saw a ton of red flags immediately. The rate was almost too good to be true, which was another big red flag. It was just a lot of things. I'm not going to go into all of it in detail, but if your factoring company is not providing you with information and tools for success, and you're just another number to them, then it's time to probably find a new factoring company, right? I don't think anybody wants to be treated like a number, and that's why these, channel and group partners that we bring in, they're pretty heavily vetted, right? Like we really check them out, multiple conversations and things. And that's because, we want to pass on those resources to you, but not to some company that's just going to, again, treat you like a number, that isn't, like this, like the instance I was just mentioning, they didn't know how to file on the broker's bond, and it was expiring on the 13th, which is, I believe, tomorrow. So, or maybe it was 13 days. I know it was one or the other. I think it was the 13th though. But with OpperFi, they've got all of that information provided there for you, right? Had they been factoring, and they did factor, but had they been factoring with OpperFi, the factoring company they were with was offering them zero help, right? And especially with the market the way it is right now, you can't afford to take such a hit like that. So I apologize. Bear with me 1 minute. So that's why it's important not to partner with good, solid companies that, are providing value to you, not just you to them, right? You shouldn't just be dollar signs to them. Okay. So if you guys are needing any of that, again, links for everything are down below. We are starting to offer the kind of jumping back to the freight sales training. I have the freight sales training. You can book an hour Zoom meeting with me. We are starting to put together our own freight broker training course. It's kind of like a basics 101 freight broker training. Everything from, filing on, to get your authority, bond information. And I've seen a lot of people asking about that as well. How do I get a bond? Why is it so high? They don't understand or weren't told that it was based on credit, right? It's based on your personal credit. So your bonds can run what, $900, $1,000 up to, like, I've seen it as high as like $9,000, right? And of course, there's some sales training involved in all of that, and kind of the whole process, business plan, everything. Okay. And we're getting pretty close to wrapping that up. Now, as far as the Zoom meeting and the sales training, I know there's a lot of you out there struggling, especially if you're brand new, kind of getting into the market with the way it is. But it's not impossible, right? And if you've maybe got in just prior to the market kind of going soft, you're probably back, kind of scratched your head. You know what I mean? You barely got kind of rolling, and everything's maybe kind of, your customer quit sending over the volume of freight that maybe you had initially started out with and everything, and you're just struggling. I can tell you, I've signed on billion-dollar companies in the last week, like multi-billion-dollar companies. I've worked with companies, that were worth $100,000, again, all the way up to, multi-billion-dollar corporations. It can be done, right? But this is why we have to develop our sales process, our follow-ups, all of these things that, again, I'll spend, some time collecting some information from you, where you're at, where your focus is, things like that, and kind of set a plan in place. And if time allows, maybe we'll actually even go through like some live cold calling together, and that kind of thing. So I really look forward to anybody that, and if you're a new broker, new agent, even if you're a carrier, right? If you're a carrier out there, maybe an owner op, or you've got a small fleet, and you're like, hey, I would just really like to try to find my own customers. It can be done, right? And this is why we're constantly prospecting. We're constantly building our books of business, because your fault, their fault, nobody's fault. Like I've said before, at some point in time, your customers will leave you, right? Look at Bed Bath & Beyond. They just went under, right? Companies fail. I've lost clients, customers. because the current transportation manager or shipping manager, or whatever you want to call them, moved on. Right? They left the company. They weren't taking another shipping manager position. They were, they went into sales somewhere, or they engineering or whatever. Quite a big different jump there, but I've lost that because when the new shipping manager came in, they wanted to start from scratch. They didn't care about my existing relationship with that business, right? And like one off in particular where that happened, we were doing what? I was doing roughly 400,000 a month, $375,000, $400,000 a month in invoice with just that customer alone, right? That was just on one customer. But it can happen. So this is why we're constantly networking. We're constantly, prospecting, and even in this soft market, like I said, you can get those customers. Like I said, I landed a multi-billion-dollar company this week, right? We're moving all kinds of freight and things, helping even, like I said, carriers get their own direct freight. Putting together some, helping them put together some dedicated lanes and things like this. And they're what I would consider like a medium-sized carrier, right? There should never be this like us versus them thing in my mind. Brokers against carriers and shippers against brokers and carriers. That just doesn't. I don't know. I don't think in those terms, I guess. So, it doesn't matter where you're at in the industry, what side of the table you're on. If I can help you in some way, and if I don't, for some reason, have the answer, and this can be about anything. It doesn't even have to be about freight sales. If you guys hit me up with almost any kind of question, I guarantee you that if I don't immediately have the answer, or maybe I'm a little unsure, you hit me with something that, was kind of, out there, or something maybe I just haven't dealt with, which is not much. I've dealt with almost any type of freight you can think of. But if it does happen, I know somebody that has the answer, right? And this again is why we network. This is the whole reason why I put together the group. In fact, let me just switch out here. Oh, what did I do? Right. I thanked everybody, for, kind of being such a integral part of the group and things like that. I'm sure if you're a member of some of the other groups on Facebook, like Christian said here, best group for networking. Other groups have too many scammers, non-existent admins. We've all seen it, right? Especially with the DAT scam that's been going on here lately. Hit me up. I can get it to you for half price and all that. Come on. That's such garbage. They might as well be calling you from Microsoft tech support or the IRS or wherever, one of those kind of scam things. But bear with me 1 second here. I've got just a little. There we go. There, we're back over here now. Okay, sorry about that. I had a little. I couldn't find my button there for a second. I'm like, I know it's right here in front of me, but yeah. Oh, you know what? I forgot to turn the comments on. If you guys have any questions for me, well, I'm kind of rambling on here again. I really wanted to kind of do this video on Tuesday, but again, I was kind of working with a lot of you out there, whether from the group or, some of you guys emailed me. I don't know, maybe you came over from the channel. I know a lot of you said, you've seen my videos and things and you're a part of the group and whatnot. So, but yeah, if you guys want my email again, Where did I go with that? Boy, I'm just technologically challenged today, I guess, or something, or I'm blind. I don't know. Maybe I need to go get a new prescription of my glasses. Right? I can't seem to find my buttons today. But yeah, that's my email if you want to reach out to me. Again, links for everything are down below. If you guys have any questions through any of this, by all means, hit me up. Right? That's what I'm here for. Light me up. Are you guys having trouble with, maybe I can answer some of your freight sales questions right now. Like maybe you thought your sales call was going good and then all of a sudden it just didn't, right? And it's happened to me. It still happens to me. I don't, not every single prospect that I reach out to, not every call goes 100% smooth. I don't have a 100% success rate, right? But one of the big things is don't get discouraged, right? I mean, I've talked about this before about, sometimes it might be on a Monday or a Friday. It seems like, at least for me, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just coincidence, but it seems like Mondays and Fridays, I get stuck in what I call voicemail jail, right? You reach out to your prospect, you got, you get them, but then you end up getting their voicemail all day long, call after call after call after call. And it can get frustrating, right? You're thinking, where are these people? Is nobody working today? And you're really trying to put forth a lot of effort, but don't give up, right? And like I said, and you've got 100 prospects that you want to call that day, and you're getting down to like number 97, 98. You're like, oh, close enough. I'm just done for the day. I've gotten so many no's and it's just not working out for me today. And, but that next phone call might be the yes that you needed. And doesn't that kind of re-energize you a little bit, right? Landing that first customer or landing your third customer or whatever it is, at least it does for me, right? Every single time I land a new account, I'm just boom, it's like fireworks, right? Because that's every new customer that I land, that's a new carrier relationship that I can build, right? I can add to my network, all of these things, right? So I'm just checking over to see if any of you guys commented or anything. So if you see me look over, that's what I'm doing. But I still get really jazzed about, getting a new customer, or, hey, Tim, I like what you got to say. I'm really busy. I've got to step in a meeting, or, we've got a little crisis in the warehouse I got to go handle, or something, whatever it is, or, you really caught me at the end of the day and I have an appointment. Like, can we catch up on Monday or something? Make sure you're doing your follow-ups. I love those calls, right? We'll follow up and we'll just get rocking. But no questions for me, huh? Let me ask you guys this, for those of you that are watching right now, and I can see you. Are you guys having trouble picking a niche? If are you brand new? You haven't. I will send an email regarding this issue. I have been in voicemail jail the whole day. Yeah, you know what? I actually have. Let me look back on my notes here. I have two of my prospects that I got today, but I ran into the same thing. Like I said, it seems like Mondays and Fridays, for some reason, are more predominantly, you end up stuck in voicemail jail. Now, that brings me to another thing. Tim, do you leave a voicemail? No, I do not. Right? Because I don't want them to screen my call when I call back on Monday. If I ever do leave a voicemail, it's usually something very simple like, hey, this is Tim. I'm really sorry I missed you. I'll try to catch up with you on Monday, or if you prefer to reach me back, and then I leave my phone number, and that's it. It's really kind of vague, and that I actually have had calls back on that before, not always, but if I try to do my sales pitch over voicemail, they're more than likely going to screen my call the next time I try to reach out to them on Monday. But yeah, you get stuck in voicemail jail. Like I said, it happens to me, but I've got, what were they worth? I had a really good call today with another really big company, huge customer. First call went very, very well. I have to follow up with him on Monday. The other gentleman, someone was filling in with them, but he really liked what I had to say and said that most likely Michael would be very receptive to working with us. So, but he was the one who ultimately ended up making the decision, and I wasn't trying to sell to the non-decision maker, but I always, whenever I find an opportunity to talk to a shipping clerk or somebody that's filling in, right? At some point in time, if you land that customer, I talk to them too, right? We'll inevitably end up speaking with them at some point in time if you land that customer. So don't be afraid to talk to them a little bit. Maybe ask them, hey, well, let me ask you this. Do you have any lanes that you're having trouble moving right now? Right? Maybe it's we're having trouble getting our stuff out to Odessa or something, or we're shipping to Billings, but I can't hardly get anybody to go out there. Well, why is that? Because some of those are dead areas, right? There's not a lot of freight that comes out of those areas. So carriers typically have to deadhead, a significant number of miles to get back out, right? So, things like that. But this is why we network. And then maybe we've tried to find a new customer with a turnaround lane out of that Billings or out of Odessa or wherever, right? One of those areas that doesn't, really ship out a whole lot. So that's a great question. I'm going to throw this one out for everybody. I hope you don't mind. Can brokers legally work with freight forwarders, or do we need a co-broker agreement? Yes, we can legally work with freight forwarders. They may ask you to sign a co-broker agreement. That's not anything that would be unheard of. I actually do work with some freight forwarders, and yeah, they can be great customers. The only thing, my biggest thing with working with freight forwarders is that they send over a lot of things in centimeters. So you're constantly doing a lot of conversions. They don't take care of that part for you. But hey, being freight brokers, that's what we do, right? We're problem solvers, or at least that's what we're supposed to be doing, for our carriers and our customers. But yeah, great question. We absolutely can work with freight forwarders. Now, I believe some of the ports right now are not as busy as others, but that doesn't mean that, you have to work with, say, a Houston-based freight forwarder, because I've got freight forwarders out of Cali that are pulling freight in out of Houston, right? Or, out of Florida. So we don't necessarily need to. And in fact, you know what? Probably in my next video, or you know what? Let me see if I can find it for you guys real quick. I know I've got it saved. Rather than going through all of my bookmarks. Just bear with me here. Un momento. I don't remember how many are on there. Okay. Here's one that I'm going to share with you guys, FreightNet. If you're looking for a list of freight forwarders, there's several on here, several per page. I don't remember exactly. I thought this went on quite a bit. Yeah, see, it continues on. I forget exactly how many pages are on there exactly, but that's a decent directory. It's just FreightNet. Actually, here, can I do this? I don't know if that would do you guys any good if I just put that up like that. But go to freightnet.com, click on the directory, and it'll be there. Let's see. Just look up freight forwarder directory, right? USA freight forwarders directory. Let's see. Container shipping line, freight forwarders. Here's another one, shippingline.org, right? There's at least 37 pages, all alphabetical order for you guys. See, I'm all about sharing, right? You guys need this stuff. I'm more than happy to share it with you. Let's see, freight forwarder business directory. There's a bunch of these. Check the port, but there's a bunch of them there. Some of these obviously might be listed in more than one directory. You could also do this. Let me grab that out of here. Grab that. Just as an example. Can't type fast today either, apparently. So Houston freight forwarders, look that up. Then you get your little Google map and everything going on there. But yeah, there's a bunch of them. Here's top freight forwarders in Houston, right? That might be a good source right there, because if they're a top freight forwarder, they're probably not slow. Because there are some freight forwarders out there that are literally like some guy sitting in his home office just starting out. And there's nothing wrong with that. He just might not have the volume of freight that you're looking for right now. But I would not neglect that person as a potential customer either. Because as the economy rebounds, shipping kind of rebounds and everything, they might get busier and eventually they'll have more freight for you, right? And by you helping them, right, with their domestic shipping needs, that helps them grow and become more profitable. Same thing like I mentioned before about, helping your carriers grow, right? Putting together new lanes. Like, so let's just say you've got a lane out of Chicago to Houston, and things have been going very well. Your carrier is making more profit, and then you're on the phone with them one day and they're like, hey, we just added 6 new trucks and drivers. Okay, awesome. Well, at the moment, I don't have any more freight, out of in that Chicago to Houston lane and back. Oh, hey, that's fine. We're actually looking to send these guys to Nashville. If you got anything over that way. If you don't, start looking for customers in Nashville, right? Start looking for customers on Chicago shipping and put together those dumbbells, like I mentioned in previous videos, where they just need to go back and forth, right? They don't have to search the load boards or anything like that. With the exception of, some mishap or, maybe your customer shuts down. I've actually had some customers that shut down 2 days before a holiday and didn't open back up for like 3 days after a holiday when everybody else was back to work, right? So sometimes you end up with like a couple of days gap. So it's always wise to keep your load boards around regardless. Again, we prefer DAT. If you don't have it, again, I've got links for all you guys down below, right? 30 days free. First 30 days. Doesn't cost you a dime. All right. Where were we? Oh, yeah. Houston Freight Forwarders. Let's see. Houston Freight Forwarder, AIT World Logistics, Texas Global Services. See, I've looked at some of these guys. Maybe I passed this information on before. Some of them are highlighted. Freight Forwarder Services. Yep. So here's some other ones, right, with links and everything. So, yeah, just figure out an area, Los Angeles, Houston, wherever, just, wherever you're looking to look, or just in general. There's freight forwarders, I believe, in Chicago. Memory serves, unless I'm having a huge. Oh. I can't type today. Top freight forwarders in Chicago. You might not think, well, they're not on a port. Well, yeah, they kind of are. They're shipping in the Great Lakes, right? So, yeah. And it's not always like containers and that kind of stuff. If you guys have been with me for a while and you remember way back, right? When I talked about working with freight forwarders And I had a freight forwarder. Again, management changed over. That was another one of those. In fact, I should reach back out to them. Come to think of it, because I loved working with them. We did a lot of expedited freight for with straight trucks, box trucks, and sprinter vans. Right, we would pick up at airports or deliver to airports. Sometimes we would pick up. There was I remember one shipment in particular. There was literally, it was a 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot square box that had to get picked up in, what was it, New Jersey or New York? It was one or the other, at the airport, and it had to be in Detroit by 8 a.m. the next morning. It was a prototype part, and it was dedicated. That's all it was. They needed team drivers, boom, and go. And that load paid phenomenal for my carrier. In fact, I still work with that carrier. They've got so many sprinters and box trucks and everything now. I mean, they're just huge. And almost always, whenever I need to work, a truck, they've almost always got something for me. So, and they typically send over like an updated available trucks list where they're at and everything. So yeah, and I love working with those guys. Tim's a phenomenal, happen chance. I love the name Tim, right? Work with Tim. I am Tim. So anyway, that's my corny joke for today. I'll shut up with that. But yeah, absolutely. Hit up your freight forwarders because they can be. I know some brokers and agents, that's all they work with is freight forwarders, right? And they're doing like 6 figures a year in income. So yeah, but it's important to understand what they're moving, right? Like some of them, a lot of them deal with like air freight, so you're picking up or delivering to airports, or there might be a particular agent there that you're working with, that's what they do. Some of it's containers. You might have to take something to a cross dock, or there's a bajillion different scenarios, right? But yeah, absolutely. If you're interested in working with freight forwarders, I would most certainly do that. You guys got any other questions for me while I'm kicking stuff out here? Yeah, sip of my Pepsi. I probably shouldn't be drinking soda this late, but I am. Too much caffeine, right? I'm a little animated today. But yeah, if you guys aren't already a part of the group, I would love to have you in there. If you're a dispatcher, I'm so sorry to say we've done polls in the group in the past. We did one actually just recently, within like the last 2 months, and it was overwhelmingly, hands down, carriers and brokers alike did not want the dispatchers in there. And I think part of that was not that everybody has problems with dispatchers, right? But a lot of them kind of sound like a broken record. If you've ever had their little ads come through your news feed on Facebook or something, they almost are just mirror images of each other. Top paying loads, rate negotiations. We've handled all of it. I mean, but it's like, I don't know if they all took the same class, right? They're using the same template or what. But they will hit up and post and comment like incessantly. And while I admire their determination and their drive to get business from carriers and network with brokers, the group just decided it was too much. I think, we didn't get into a ton of reasons why, but sort of my feeling on it. And again, it was 100% hands down. So maybe that'll change one day. I try to throw those polls out from time to time, but for now and for the last while. And if you do request to be a member of the group, don't forget to answer the membership questions, or I'm probably going to not allow it, and I'll send you back a feedback asking you, hey, make sure you answer those questions for membership, right? Just a couple of simple questions, right? What's my like I think the first question on there is, what's your connection to the freight industry? You could say, hey, I know you, Tim, or something, right? Because I handle all the approvals and disapprovals. So if that's your connection, you're just getting started, say that. I'm looking to start off as a freight agent or a freight broker, or I watch your videos, Tim, or something. That's enough for me. You don't have to be a CEO or anything like that, or a CFO at a company. And sometimes we get shippers in there too, right? Sometimes we do get shippers in the group that even in this market, as soft as it is, they will get into the group and say, hey, I need some help. Which social media do you have the group? You mean, what's the name of it? Here, I can go back over here. And share that one. Hey, I'm getting better at this. Freight Brokers and Carriers Network Group. There is another group that's very similar and named. I think it's just called Freight Brokers and Carriers Network. Not going to down them, but there's not a lot of admin control in there. But as you can see, I've got some new member requests and some pending posts and stuff that I got to get to. I do that. I pre-approve all of that, or one of the moderators, like David is a moderator, Shaggy's a moderator. We've got a good number of moderators in there to kind of keep the group spam free, keep it friendly, make sure everybody's networking and everything. But yeah, we don't want a lot of garbage in there, and we don't want anybody not feeling right. We all started out somewhere. Like I've seen in too many other groups, and this is one of the things that frustrated me, which was again another reason why I started this group, was because I would see whether they were a new carrier or a new agent or a new broker that had questions, and some of the veterans in the industry, or maybe they've been in for 5 years, 4 years or something, they would start ragging on them and just oh, I can't believe you don't know that, and da da da. Well, were you born with all that knowledge? No, you weren't. Right? We all started off somewhere. We all, had to get our foot in the door and network and stuff. Like, I don't see any point in that. It's like somebody that maybe is overweight or too thin going to the gym, right? People, and they're going, oh, they're going to make fun of me. No, they're going to respect you more for doing something, right? Then it's the same concept. I think if that's a good enough analogy, but yeah, and that's why I say. And then we partner with certain groups. We've actually got a surety bond company that we're working with now. So if you need a surety bond, or you need to renew it, let me know. So I can get you over that information as well. We've got a lot of new great things happening. Operify's got something that we're going to be announcing here pretty soon. Let's see. We've got another new resource for shipper leads and carrier leads, right? So you guys can start networking with carriers and with carriers. Or did I just say carriers and carriers? With shippers and carriers. I really have had too much caffeine. Yeah. So yeah, and it's a really awesome resource, and I'm going to tell you all about it pretty soon. I believe probably 2 weeks. We should have everything all kind of ready to go, which I don't know where I'm going to put their logo up on the thing there. I kind of am out of room. I don't know. I might have to redo the whole banner and everything to fit everybody, which I kind of hate because I just did this one. I don't know. I like it. Maybe you don't, but I think it's okay. So yeah, it's on Facebook. Like I said, Freight Brokers and Carriers Network Group. You guys got any other questions for me? Anything at all? If you guys aren't already on LinkedIn, make sure you create a LinkedIn profile. Okay, that's usually one of the first things I ask when I get on these Zoom calls or phone calls with people, and they're like, "No, I don't have a LinkedIn profile." Get a LinkedIn profile, okay? It's very if you're not familiar with LinkedIn, maybe you are, and maybe I'm telling you something you already know. But for those of you that maybe don't know, LinkedIn is basically it's a social networking platform for business owners, business professionals, employees, things like this. Very similar to Facebook, but it's strictly business oriented, right? Um, so there's groups on there, things like that, and it can be a great way to network and find new customers to work with. So I'll give you that little tidbit right now. I've mentioned that in previous videos. It's not like it's a huge secret or anything. But yeah, none of this stuff should really be a big secret, right? Because, like I said, there's some people it's so tight with information. Oh, I can't share that. I can't share that with that new person. Why? I have no problem sharing you guys whatever information you need, as long as it is in regards to logistics, right? Transportation. Like I said, don't hit me up for relationship advice with your significant other, because I'm probably the wrong person. You could talk to me about fishing. I would be more than happy to talk to you about fishing. I need to get up and go. But okay, guys. Well, if you don't have any more questions for me tonight, we've been running 42 minutes now. I really appreciate you guys sticking in there with me. I love y'all. When you get a new customer, if you're just starting out, you're watching this, hey, if any of this information in the previous videos, or we end up having a Zoom meeting or something, let me know in the next video. Hey, I got a new customer, or I got a really great new customer or something, or I got my first customer. I'd love to hear about it. We got this whole big, well, maybe I'm making more out of it, but we have a kind of celebrate the, like I said, I'm your guys' biggest cheerleader. At least I try to be, right? Because I love watching everybody succeed. Like I said, we all started off somewhere. When I got into this, I was a single father of 3. It was scary as all what for me to get into this. But like I said, I networked. I talked with some other people who were actually willing to talk and things. And again, this is why I have the channel, why I have the Facebook group and everything. And I'm developing this training program and setting it up so you guys can book a Zoom with me and everything. So yeah, I guess with all that being said, I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I hope you have an awesome week next week. I'm rooting for you, all of you. And as always, be kind to one another. Bye-bye now.